What's new, crew? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a lot of things. We are making breakfast sandwiches, breakfast burritos. We're also tackling the insane amount of laundry that I fell behind on as a large family. It piles up really quickly, and we're also doing a little bit of like a deep cleaning that I really wanted to get done. So here we go. Let's hop into kind of all of the things on this like really just kind of a crush it with Cassie / weekly reset, kind of catch up on all the things. So I started with my breakfast sandwiches. This is everything that I was just able to get done while Cleo napped. Cleo is my youngest. She turns 1 in just a couple of days. So if you've ever had a child that age, you know sometimes that nap times are really your only really productive time. And that's kind of true for me right now. That's just the season I'm living in. So I waited until she napped to kind of crank out as much as I possibly could. So I made my breakfast sandwiches. I just start by cracking eggs in my muffin tins, salt and pepper, put them in the oven at 350. You know they're done when you shake the pan and the eggs don't jiggle. For our breakfast burritos, I started by the very first thing I did when I got into the kitchen was put a pound of breakfast sausage in my pan and let that start browning. Once that browned a little bit and it released a little bit of the fat, that's when I started washing and cutting my potatoes so that my potatoes could fry in that pork sausage fat. This is just a breakfast sausage from a local hog that we get, and it's fantastic. So I let that cook down in my pan with my potatoes and seasoned it with a little bit of salt and pepper and a little bit of taco seasoning. I'm going to let this cook down while I do everything else. Our eggs are already in the oven. So while everything is cooking for me, I wanted to make the most time of in my kitchen today. So while everything was going, I started washing my dishes. I had already loaded my dishwasher and I just really wanted to knock these dishes out. Obviously, we did not do them from the weekend. This weekend, we took all weekend long and worked on our basement. We got everything drywalled, and we are just one step closer to finishing that project so that we can get everybody rotated. We really needed an extra bedroom in our house, so that's what's happening down there, and it's taken a lot of time because we've been doing it slowly as we can find materials on sale and trying to do as much of the work ourselves as possible. So sometimes when you want to do that to save money, you kind of sacrifice the time that it's going to take to do the project. So that was the priority this weekend, not necessarily the dishes. While I was washing the dishes, I was still making sure that I was stirring that breakfast sausage and potatoes so that it didn't burn, just checking on it. And somebody had thrown their plate in the sink with food on it. It was probably my 3-year-old, but I'm not going to name names. So while that happened, I put all the food scraps in a scrap bucket for the chickens. I got all the dishes washed, high chair tray done, and then I wiped out the sink because when the sink is clean, it feels so much happier in my kitchen for me. It's just one of those things for me, So once that was done, my eggs for my sandwiches were just about done. So I wanted to wipe down my counter so that I had a clean space to work, and I started laying out everything I needed. My English muffins, my cheese slices, my sausage patties, and then I pulled out some freezer Ziploc bags, and I also grabbed some tin foil so that I could wrap my sandwiches individually and then throw them all together in a big freezer Ziploc bag. That way they have 2 layers of protection from the freezer. Not that they're going to last very long, but then also when my husband goes to grab these on his way to work, he can just grab one breakfast burrito. He can pop it in the microwave here and eat it in the car on the way to work, or he could just take it frozen. In the summer, it's a little bit easier because it thaws out a little bit better, but in the wintertime, by the time he would go to eat it, because he works outside, it'll still probably be frozen. So he always nukes it in the microwave in the winter. Just put on our cheese, our sausage, and then I like to use a spoon to kind of scoop out the egg and put that on top of our breakfast sandwich. Once I got all those lined up, I just put the tops on the breakfast sandwiches and started to roll them all in tin foil and then put them in our freezer Ziploc bags. I had one extra egg, but I just saved it for Cleo to eat when she woke up from her nap. So that's kind of what that extra egg is kind of sitting there for. but wrapped everything up, got it in my freezer Ziploc bags, and it was perfect timing because by the time I was done with that, my breakfast burrito mixture was ready for me to crack eggs in and add in our cheese for our yummy taco breakfast burrito filling. To finish off our breakfast burrito filling, I ended up cracking in 9 or 10 eggs. It really just depends on how many potatoes I cut, how big the potatoes were. I just like to kind of go off the ratio of the mixture that looks good for what we like. So it could be more, it could be less. Once the eggs were almost all the way scrambled, I ended up throwing in a little bit of this Mexican style cheese that I get from Aldi. I like it because it adds a little bit of seasoning, it adds a little bit of creaminess, it's really good. I would highly recommend it, but if you don't have that, cheddar is fine, Colby Jack is fine. All we're gonna do is take that mixture and start rolling it into burritos. If I were making these solely for myself, I would also add in like peppers and onions and all of the vegetables. Like I would throw in some salsa in this mix. My husband does not enjoy all the additives, so I didn't add any of the additives. I ran out of tortilla shells. I had more in my freezer, but I did not want to go grab them. So what I decided to do instead was just wrap these 4 burritos and then take the remaining mixture that I had, the filling, I just put it in a Tupperware and put it in the refrigerator, and I will eat that at home for the next couple of days, just depending on how many or how much filling I have left over. I'll make my own breakfast burritos at home, or I'll just eat the filling as is. I gave the counter another wipe down, put everything in the freezer. Then I wanted to go ahead and finish cleaning up from the weekend. So I swept the floors, which are really, it's embarrassing to show how nasty these were, but remember, we live on the homestead. There's a lot of things coming in and out, and we were also carrying in drywall and wood and a ton of materials from outside inside, and we got a huge snowstorm that day, so there's a lot of just everything on the floor. And because we were tracking in snow and it melted, everything that was on the floor already kind of like melted and stuck to the floor. So I gave everything a sweep. Earlier this week, I had cleaned under the other couch and the recliner and the TV stand, and this was the couch that I did not move because Cleo woke up and I just had to kind of like call it quits for the day. So this day I wanted to finish cleaning underneath the one couch that I did not get to clean under, pushed that back. I wanted to mop under it, but I could hear Cleo on the monitor starting to wake up. So I decided to just kind of like cut my losses and do what was most important for me to get done. So I just pushed the couch back. I finished sweeping up the living room floor. We had like peas all over the floor because we normally don't let the kids eat snacks that aren't, like, you have to sit up at the counter or you have to sit at the table when you're eating snacks. But because we were so busy this weekend, we kind of just let the kids eat in the living room, which we normally don't do unless it's like a Friday night and it's a movie night or something. So things were all over the floor, so I swept all that up, and like I said, the floors were sticky, so I gave it a really good mop. Cleo woke up. She ate lunch, and you're going to see her here in a second. But I also really wanted to catch up on laundry, so my washer and dryer had been going all day this day. So I wanted to get everything switched, put in another load, and just keep letting that work for me. I put away a ton of laundry. Colt helped me put away his laundry. You're going to see him here in a second. But the rest of the day, I just kept folding, organizing, putting away, washing and drying laundry, and that was kind of the rest of my catching up from the weekend. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me. I hope that you guys are enjoying Vlogmas, and I will see you guys in another video.